Hi, welcome to Books to Boardrooms with Dr. Kiran. Today we have Arshi Ayub. She is the CEO of Trust with Trade. Today we will be discussing with her the various aspects of women in leadership, the challenges as a woman she faced when she is being a leader and how she overcome that. Hi Arshi. Arshi, can you just give a little background about yourself and the organization you are working?
Firstly, thank you so much, Dr. Kiran, for having me here. I'm Arshi Ayub Muhammad. I lead the Trust with Trade organization in the UAE. We are a company that has been formed with a lot of passion and vision initially back in the 80s, and primarily core activity into mining and manufacturing locally in the UAE. Apart from that, we have recently ventured into biotechnology, carbon control, sustainability, and into specific kind of research and development in brain-to-computer interface. So I think that would sum it up.
So you work as the CEO of the organization.
That's correct.
So if I can call you, you are one of the women leaders in UAE holding the CEO position.
Well, you can say that, but I would be happy if you say leader, just not women leader, but specifically leader, because we have to ensure that there is no leadership doesn't have any gender. And we should not identify any style of leadership or anybody in any demographic with a gender orientation for the specific kind of work that they are doing. Nobody calls a man male leader, you just call them a leader. So I'm hopeful that we get away with that kind of specific calling as well. But there is a change that is coming, and I'm hopeful to see better of that.
I think that's one of the reasons I asked this specific question related to women in leadership. There is always a lot of importance when it comes in media, West, everywhere, talking about the women in leadership and the stereotype which is prevailing in the society talking about the same. So why people call a women leader not a male leader when it comes to leadership? So I would like to add one point to that and asking you that, is it because of the doubt what the people are having that women can't be a good leader, or is it because the women really face a lot of challenges to become a leader? So what is the reason why this women leadership gets so much of attention?
I think the reason why we are facing that kind of a calling out is because the situation is improving. Now you do have a series and a generation of leaders that are primarily women. And of course, remembering that these are the women who didn't give up, who despite all the odds, despite all challenges, which again, challenges are not gender bound. You may encounter challenges as a man, and we also encounter challenges as women. Despite that, there is a series of women, and there is an upcoming generation of women who are fighting that, who are combating it to the best of their capacity, and they are finding their way. They are paving way for their own professional and personal upliftment. So I think that is a lot to do with the way the situation is. And I'm happy that today, at least, we are sitting together. We are talking about leadership specific to women, which is a good thing. But of course, we need to all work towards a day, because women in leadership roles is not a women's issue, or is not a women's problem, or is not a women opportunity. It is an opportunity for everybody. When women lead and when women are at the hem of everything, everybody benefits. Men benefit, women benefit, children benefit, the society benefits, your nation benefits. So we have to remember that everybody benefits when a woman is leading.
I think, yeah, so when you talk about the society part, there can be a possibility that a guy, just because he's a male, possibly he can become a leader much faster. But when it comes to a women in leadership, they need to really prove that they are the best. So that is the reason if you look at the success rate or the performance of women in leadership is much higher, because they need to cross a lot of obstacles to reach that leadership position. So when you talk about the society again, there's a concept of a glass ceiling, wherein people think that a woman cannot go beyond a certain level. They can be maybe a line manager, but not to be an executive. So do you think that the glass ceiling concept is fading off?
Well, it would be quite of a glorified situation, if I may call that it's completely fading out. No, it's not, because when we say breaking the glass ceiling or trying to find your own footing, it is different for different people. It's different for different people in different countries. So sitting over here today, I can say that yes, because this country gives you that access. This country gives you that visibility. The UAE is truly the flag bearer of progress and accessibility for women in leadership positions in the entire MENA region. It wouldn't be particularly fair for me to say and generalize it for the entire world. But of course, there are a lot of women breaking a lot of barriers globally. And I think the reason why we are seeing that kind of economic growth is because men and women both understand that it's not always that we should compete with each other. We should collaborate and give room for each other to breathe, to improve, and to empower. So I think men and women collectively know that today, which is why women are able to take so many positions, women are able to deliver, they're able to perform. And one of the key reasons that I'm able to do that is because my father gave me the opportunity, which I am deeply grateful for. He ensured that me being me is because there was a man backing it up. And I am not ashamed to take that up. I'm not ashamed to mention about it because it is a fact. I will never rule that out. Women also need to be more and more cognitive and also appreciate the community of men around them who are giving them that entire room, who are giving them the opportunity because we need it. We need it. It would be sounding very wrong when I say, and we are putting men in an authoritative position by saying they are giving us the permission or they are allowing us, but they are truthfully giving us the opportunity, because if they don't step back or rather pull you up, it's not going to be possible. And today we are seeing this because the leadership of this country, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, our Crown Prince in Abu Dhabi, or His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Prime Minister of the UAE, these are men who are responsible for women taking up so many positions at the fore. And we shouldn't forget their contribution. We shouldn't forget the reason why we're doing what we are doing is because they created legislation, they enacted the legislation, and they ensured that we have that position today.
So what you explained right now, that means that community, society, country plays a very important role for the upliftment of women to be in very senior leadership positions. So you being in UAE have done and worked all your years here. So what are the major things, what do you think that UAE is doing to bring women into leadership position and giving more opportunities? I mean, I would like to talk about women empowerment also, but what is that UAE is doing which maybe a lot of other countries can look at it, which you can help to bring more women in the leadership position or in a senior role?
Well, firstly, I think empowering a generation of women has a lot to do with starting from your homes, from your communities, from the society and the environment that you live in. The reason that we are able to witness a new generation of women, or rather the previous generation who genuinely empowered the entire society, is because they are educated, number one. They have that access to literacy. They are able to identify opportunities and pursue them. So we have to credit the education and the literacy factor, number one. Secondly is that legislation. Government plays a key role in terms of giving them the right kind of, if I may say, a plethora of opportunities. If you don't let them pursue it, they would never be able to. So government plays a key role. We recently heard about the equal pay for equal work, which is a massive upgrade in terms of how the pay scales and the salary scales of men and women are in the workforce. Apart from parental leave implemented in the private sector, sexual harassment laws, or for that matter, decency, business ethics enacted in the workplace is ensuring that women today have inclusivity, fair inclusivity, and more importantly, that they feel empowered enough to get up and speak for themselves. Because that is a factor which most aren't able to do. They don't have enough confidence to get up and speak or say no. Fortunately, today with technological advancement, we do have the facility to find yourself, identify mentors, speak with people in your circle or outside your circle globally, and find those right kind of people who can guide you, who can mentor you. We didn't have that back in the day. It was only our parents, or it was only the family, immediate one, or your friend circle who would eventually influence you to become the person that you are.
So you told about some of the challenges. So what are the key challenges you being as a leader faced? Maybe let's say 3 major challenges you faced, and can you tell me about how you overcome those challenges?
If we go quintessentially, definitely when you have women in positions in industries that are called out to be male dominated, and in reality they are too, then of course you're bound to face a lot of innuendos, you're bound to face a lot of remarks, and you're bound to be taken down by them. You're constantly, I think you constantly have to prove yourself and work double harder to be able to say that, okay, you know, I pursued this and I was successful. A man doesn't have to prove anything to anybody, technically. Well, a woman who comes out of the house and says, okay, I have found my foot and I want to work and I want to pursue this particular profession, she has to really work hard and prove to her family as well today. And that is a reality, that is a harsh reality that we have to face. So I think families also have to be slightly much more adaptive and sort of, they have to give the people room to breathe, that it is okay if a man fails if he pursues something, but that's not okay for a woman. So I think the ability to identify that and eliminating the constant fear of failing, that has been, I think, a continuous pursuit for me as well, that you're expected to succeed in everything you do somehow, which is not true, which is not correct in its sense, and it's okay to fail. So I think that was also one of the huge challenges that I have faced. And of course, apart from the societal challenge, stereotypes, biases that you face by the opposite gender, I think one of the key challenges that I faced as a human myself was the fact that you don't always have to be overtly emotional about everything that doesn't work, right? If it works, then you're very happy about it, you celebrate it, you make a huge deal about it. But you don't have to be overtly emotional about everything that doesn't work. So you have to keep your emotions outside of your transactional deal making. That is something I have learned in trade. But over the last 1.5 years, thanks to the pandemic, I also learned that sometimes you have to indulge into emotional decision making because of the situation that comes up. The situation today demands us to be much more compassionate. It demands us to have a heart and understand that everybody is undergoing massive emotions. They are undergoing a lot of thinking, and you have to give people that kind of psychological safety to be able to understand that and give them time to process it.
One final question I would like to ask you is, if you need to give an advice to young women who aspire to be a leader, so what will be your advice to them that which will motivate them to go ahead and reach their dreams?
Well, firstly, I think you were kind enough to tell me the textbook qualities of how what a leader should be, but I will tell you something from personal experience is that everybody is a leader. You lead in your homes, you may lead a project, you may lead the team, you may lead the institution, you may lead a session, or for that matter, you may be leading a very small thing in your house. Everybody leads something or the other. The fact that we are able to deliver a message with correct wisdom and understanding is very important. So communication plays a very key role in terms of how we lead or the way we are able to nurture relationships. You have to be able to communicate everything in the correct way, and it is okay if you don't, because you learn. That is when you learn. Another thing that I would say is that many people fear judgment. Many people fear failing. And again, like I said, it is okay to fail as a leader. You saw a problem, you identified it, you tried to find a solution, it didn't work out, and it is fine. It is fine. You learn. The next time you make a decision, you're much more cognitive about how the entire situation was. So you learn. It's fine. It is okay to fail. And that is a quality that everybody should embody in their personal and professional lives.
Thanks a lot, Arshi. I think it's great to know that, or letting everybody believe that they do, or everybody do have a leadership quality within them, and accepting it, and learning how to fail and trying to find out how to overcome those failures, as well as if you can always understand, have a good communication skill, anybody can be a great leader. Thanks a lot for sharing your experience. I'm sure most of our students or students across the world who is watching this interview, especially females who really want to go up in their career, will find it much interesting. Thanks a lot for your valuable time.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.